Five things off the wall.
That's us, man. 24/7.
You should expect the unexpected. I mean,
Make it known that this is all about being 100% authentic.
We are live now.
So, with that being said, let's jump right in. Yo, welcome to another episode of Five Things Off the Wall. I am your guy, Derek D. Bills. What up, people?
Peace, beautiful people. It's your boy Dab. Happy to be back.
Hey everyone, it's your girl C Mac.
Walt is here.
Yo, and we've got a special guest tonight. But before we go into the special guest introduction, wanted to say if you have not taken the time to like or subscribe, please do so. We'd love to have you. We'd love to have you. So let's jump in. Let's talk. Dev has
Yeah, what's up, D?
You have the
Yeah,
honor
so I
of
want
introducing our guest.
Thank you, brother. I want to take the time to introduce this brother that we have on today. He's going to be a special guest with us throughout the entire podcast. I've known this brother for quite some time now, and he's got a lot of things going on, has a compelling story, and is a successful entrepreneur with not one, but two music businesses. So I want to give the floor to my guy, Frankie Diggs, owner of Elite Records and Money Made Records. My brother, what's going on?
how you doing, sir?
Hey Frankie.
We're good.
How you
Frank,
doing?
what up?
What's
So
going
look-
on, boss man?
So look, man, when we was at homecoming a few weeks back, we had some time to chop it up, man. And first and foremost, I want to say thank you for the kind words that you was even giving to me, about the podcast and the family and all of that, man. Much appreciative. But you had some really interesting things that you was talking about, not only with your music business, but how you even got into the music business and where you came from, where you was, and how you got to where you are now. And I felt compelled to bring you on a podcast so others can hear that. I want to give you the platform that you rightfully deserve to be able to talk about that. So go ahead and tell us, man, after state, what happened? Because truth be told, I didn't even know you was in music, right? So I was in shock when I found out. And I'm sure there may be some people who's listening to this who know you was like, yo, how did that journey happen? So please go ahead and share with me.
I'm gonna be real. It kind of really came to me. Like I ain't went chasing or nothing, because y'all went to school with me. I was never trying to be into the music part. I was always about sports. I went to grad school at Clark.
Mhm.
Grad school at Clark. And found some interesting people that kind of changed my outview on life.
Mhm.
Pretty sure everybody heard of BMF, right?
No,
nope,
not at all.
When I got to grad school, man, they've been ripping running the city.
Uh-huh.
And that's really when Jeezy was just now blowing up, ripping running the city. You could see Jeezy at any club at any point in time. And just the whole feel they had around the city, the energy, everything was like something different that I never experienced. When you never experienced something, you had a chance to experience, you don't know if you like it or not. So when this in that whole environment, it was like, golly, like this is something I might want to do. And then as time went on, like, okay, me and my business partner, which is like my brother Diedrich, God bless his soul, we was doing parties. We was already doing parties and doing car shows. And it was like investing money in doing this and booking other artists. And we just sit there and say, like, why are we gonna keep these other artists when we can build an artist and make the same type of money? Because when you paying 20,000 and 17,000 per show on an artist, and you kind of look at your pockets, you're like, golly, we giving this dude this kind of money for like 30 minutes. Now you be like, wait a minute, you want to try to duplicate what you see.
Yep.
That's what really drawn us to getting into the music industry, because we really were just entrepreneurs, just throwing shows and throwing parties, being promoters.
Got it. And you was doing the promotion in the A at the time?
Nah, we were doing the promotion in South Carolina and Orangeburg.
Okay.
We were doing promotion really all over because we had a tour with Boosie. That was our first tour. We did a 10-city tour with Boosie, and we went all the way from Jacksonville all the way to Kansas City with it.
That's what's
So
up.
so when Boosie taught me how to grind on the road, you know what I'm saying, how to move an artist, and I learned a whole lot from him in the younger days. And by us doing that, it was just one thing led to another, one thing led to another, and before you know it, kind of in the music industry, because you're meeting the artists, you're being around the artists, you're meeting the producers, you got to talk to the DJs and the radio station to get your commercials out. So it's almost like it's kind of like pulling you in.
Shout out to Boosie
Once that
Badass, by
happened,
the way.
yeah, real one. So when it
Yeah.
started pulling you in, and we started meeting these different people, and then we started just developing an artist on our own. And when we first started, like I said, we thought it was something simple, like other people look at it outside looking in. We thought we could just go make a tape, put it out. Okay, boom, let's wait for the money to come in.
Mm-hmm.
Little did we know it didn't work like that. Like that at all. More in depth we got into it, the more money we spent. The more money we
Okay.
spent, the more we started scratching our head because we wasn't getting no return.
Right.
And you know
Right.
that ain't business in no kind of form or fashion. No
Right.
return, you at least want a little something, or at least 50% of your money back.
Yeah,
So
you
we were spending
hustling. You
money on
hustling backwards. Mm-hmm.
money on studio time and spending money on going to Florida, because we were recording in Florida. We were trying to be on a level already, so we was acting like we was already on.
Got you. Got you.
Parties, we was doing everything to act like we was on, like, you know what I'm saying, to be a part of the industry, thinking that that's what we had to do. So when we really break down the phone, we slow down, and we're like, wait a minute. I would tell Dietrich how much we spent in studio time in a course of a year, how much time we spent on hotel for the artists. We had to pay for them the food. We had to do this. So I would tell him, like, bro, look, this is what we spent. The idea we built our own studio. Building our own studio, that opened up a whole new ball game. You ever heard that saying, you build it, they'll come?
Yeah. So this is when you say, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and build the studio in Colombia.
Exactly.
Okay.
We're going to build a studio in Columbia. Because being real, I wanted to build a studio in Orangeburg.
Okay.
I never wanted to leave out of Orangeburg.
Okay.
Really?
To build a studio in Columbia. You like, man, the city, that's what we need to be at. So that's when we made the transition to Columbia. And we've been here ever since.
Okay. And so when you was getting your artists and everything else, and you was building your studio, because you already mentioned that, you was kicking out a lot of money, right? And maybe you was kicking out a lot of money, but there wasn't a lot of money coming back in to kind of recoup and you be able to get a profit and see something
Exactly.
based on it. So what were some of the other things that you said, all right, you know what, I'm gonna have to figure out another way to kind of bring some money in to be able to not only build the studio but maintain it while one of these artists pop?
Because when it was time for us to push our first single, we had to come up with 20,000
Mm-hmm.
to push one song. So just imagine you got a whole tape with 12 songs on there, and you only pushing one song. They actually put 20,000. That's just the start.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And they want it all. Ain't no payment plan. Want it all right then.
Right.
Wow.
That right there, it makes you look at the majors and the indies, and you wonder why the majors can move at the level and put out the music at the level that they can. Is because they have the budget.
Mm-hmm.
If you got the budget, you can make a hit. Are you willing to spend that much money into it to see if it's going to become a hit?
All right.
A lot of people don't realize. A lot of people make a lot of good music. There's a lot of great songs. There's a lot of hits out there. But if you don't got it's almost like saying like this: you build a car, but you ain't got the gas to drive.
Yeah.
Sit in your garage.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's serious, man, because the grind is real. Like, I can't even imagine. And how much you said again? 20,000 for one?
Now that just a start. That ain't even a budget. That was just like a starter kit
Mm.
for pushing a record.
Mm.
They ain't counting your videos that you done did like my artist was the first artist to shoot a video in Justin's in Atlanta. The first artist to shoot a video in Justin's in Atlanta.
Justin.
That's out the block.
Wow.
Yeah, Big Block set that up for us. He called Puffy and made that happen for us. So that was a very good look at an early age.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Justin.
What were some of the things that because you've been rocking and doing this for about 16 years, am I right? So what were some of the things you learned along the way, and what makes you still continue to keep doing it?
One thing I learned along the way, someone always told me, do good business, you'll always stay in business.
Mm.
That's one thing I always pride myself is doing good business, always being there, communicate with my artists and be able to communicate with promoters and the DJs because that's a real fickle thing because you gotta think in this rap game a lot of people got egos.
Mm.
Yeah.
You know what I
Wow.
mean? And regardless of how you may look at it, you're gonna have to learn how to stroke them.
Yeah.
So
Because
so
the
you
music
said
business is based
something.
off relationships.
So you said something, Frankie, and I want to ask you about it. You said doing good business in this fickle industry, right? One thing I think that kind of burns me up about this hip hop generation is how fast something is hot and then that's old. It's like, but it just came out last week. It's old now. It's like you can't keep up with what's current.
But that's our culture. That's our culture, though, Walt. That's our
Right. That's
culture and
what that,
everything.
but that's what I was going to ask you. Like, because the culture has shifted to be like, all right, you got to be hot right here, right now. How do you keep? I mean, good business is good business no matter what, but your business also has to be relevant. How do you adapt and adjust as the culture changes, as the temperature changes? How do you do that as well? Like while keeping good business? Because like one thing I think was it Charlemagne or one of them, somebody said like they said Lil Uzi Vert is a different type of artist than Kodak Black
Mm.
and 21 Savage. They all sound the same to me. So I don't know.
No, there's three different
No, it's
artists.
three.
I
There's
know there's
three
three
different
different people. I
sounds.
know there's three
Three.
different.
But
That's
I'm saying,
three
but
different sounds.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But
style, three different fan base.
that's how old man
Yeah.
get off my lawn. I am like it all sounds like that loud boopity boop to me. So that's what I'm
Oh,
saying. Like, how do you measure the temperature, maintain good business while staying true to what you got into it for?
Values in my core. I don't change or try to fit through any circles or jump through any holes for nobody. Um, and the people that do know me, and like I said, and the people that do business, they know one thing about Diggs. He gonna say what he say, mean what he say, and that is it. Like I don't like when it comes to this music, you got to stand on your ground because it's a tough business. And one thing I do, I always tell my artists to their art, be you. I always tell artists like this, be true to yourself. Because if you always true to yourself, it don't matter what changes throughout the course of music, you will always be good at what you do because you're being true to yourself. You're not in competition with the next person. You're not trying to sound like the next person. And that's how you build your fan base. And that way you create staying power. Because you notice, like you said, people come in, those microwave artists, just like they come, that's how they leave.
Mhm. You know what? I've heard the same thing about do good business. You know, what I mean, you stay in business. I heard the same thing about who was it? What another Atlanta artist? Oh gosh, his name slips me at the moment, but I know a few people who work with this artist, and the artist is still on the scene. So that's I'm glad you know what I mean that's what you're living by, and so that's keeping you in business. I see on your merch, money made.
Yeah.
Made is it an acronym? And so what does it stand for?
Nah, it ain't an acronym. We just
Yeah.
spell it like that for legal purposes. When we went to get the LLC, that's the best way for us to put it.
That's what's up. That's what's up. You know, it's interesting that you say that because, you know, Derek, you said the right thing when it comes to longevity, you know, trying to continue to stay relevant in this music industry. And I know, Frankie, you know, you said that, you know, you don't really change or switch up for different circles, but I would think you would agree that, you know, you do need to make sure that you evolve in terms of
You're correct.
what's trending at the time,
Correct.
you know, to stay relevant. Is that an accurate statement to say?
That's accurate. That's accurate because
Okay.
I mean, like you said, I had to tighten up the jeans a little bit. So yeah, you got to evolve. You know what I mean? So that
Yeah.
just comes with it. But with the evolving, though, I look at it like this is growing because I wouldn't say like what I mean by change, like don't change your core values. Because of course
Mhm.
you're going to evolve and you're going to change some things as you learn the business because you're not educated about the business. So as you learn, you're going to change on how you're gonna do things because you want to get better. So of
Right.
course you're gonna have to change to grow. But as they say, like your core values, the things that I stand on that I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna do this just to do that. Or I'm not gonna say this even though I know it's wrong. You let me get away with that. Nah, if it's wrong, it's wrong. We need to state that. If not, it becomes a slippery slope.
I got
Yeah.
you.
All right.
That makes sense. That makes perfect sense. So listen, how can
You see a lot of artists, and management and artists and label. That's where the separation come at, that communication. Because they let
Mhm.
one thing slide and everybody be like, oh, it's cool, it's cool, it's cool. And then you keep letting it slide, let this slide, and then it get heavy. And then that one straw that broke the camel back. Now you probably in a situation where you can't fix nothing because there's so much
Right.
stuff to fix.
Right. That makes sense. So let me
You know
ask you a
what?
question, man. Oh, go ahead, Duke. Go
Wait,
ahead.
and before you ask that question, I do want to say Walt mentioned, I think it was Dev mentioned that Frankie, they had a conversation at homecoming. So I do want to add and be explicit about it that Frankie is a product of the SCSU, South Carolina State University, like the
Yes.
rest of
All day
us.
for life,
So
Thank
for
you.
life, for
that
life. That's home.
that's where we all became family, and so it's always
But they
good
hall
to
all day. But they hall.
yes sir, all
You
day.
be there to know it.
Hi, Rob.
Yeah.
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 So it's always good to highlight and spotlight one of our own who is doing tremendous and great things, not just for himself and his family, but also other families. So yeah.
Yo, Frankie, let me ask you a question, man, before we go into anything else. Talk about some of the artists that you're managing now, man, and what work you got going on or what's gonna be coming out soon.
Well, on the Money Made Records, start with Money Made Records. Money Made Records, we got Mister, which is he's my business partner. He's also a co-owner of Money Made Records as well. Um, and that was an interesting story because he was first signed to Elite Records, and then he was a person that had his own money and had his own vision of how he wanted to go. And he came up with the Money Made, and I was like, okay, well, bet we'll do this right here. Instead of you being under my umbrella, Elite Records, we'll do a label together where you sign yourself, and boom, and that's how we came up with Money Made. So when we came with Money Made, Mister signed himself to Money Made, and we became business partners. And then we later on got Deezy McDuffie, um, probably like a year later after he came home. We got Dizzy McDuffie. Then we did the MMR tour, which went crazy until the police shut us down. You know what I'm saying? Then once they shut us down, like we became banned in the city for about 3-4 years.
Jeez.
Wait, what?
Yeah, we was banned. Yeah, we was
What was
banned in
y'all doing
Colombia.
over there?
Yeah, we was banned in Colombia for like 3-4 years. We couldn't do no shows. If any club would have booked us, they would have blue light them.
Mo.
It was like that. So they kind of label us they kind of label us the death row of South Carolina.
Wow.
You said band. I was gonna say Two Live Crew, South Carolina.
Yeah, but I will say this: it was successful up until that point, until they railroaded us. Because we did the show, we did Barnwell, we did Denmark, we did Orangeburg, we did Sumter, and our last stop was going to be Columbia. Was going to be the grand finale, and that's when they kind of put a stop to everything.
Wow.
So
So
how
Frankie,
go ahead, go ahead.
wait. What club era was that? Because if you talking about coming to Columbia, like most people now know the club scene in Columbia is largely different than what
It
it
was
is.
about 5 years ago. It was like during the Vault era, the first Vault era.
Okay.
wow.
Okay. All right. So that was when. So 5 years ago, that would have been
It was before Rennie got signed. It was before Rennie got signed. That was when everybody
okay.
was going to Vault to see Rennie.
Okay. All right. All right. So there still was a few places where hip hop could be heard, and there was places where you could go to. Because now there's nothing really.
I mean, being real with you, Walt, during that era, it was so many clubs at that one point in time, and then they all shut down when the COVID came, and now you see, and then a lot of people got their liquor license took, but now you're seeing them now they trying to merge back. But during that era, it was a lot of strip, and see, what people don't realize, Columbia got more strip clubs than we got clubs.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so
You
that's
better
that's
know it.
another thing too. So it was more like the strip club era.
Listen,
Well,
They go to the
listen.
club, it's
So
the strip club, really.
I'm telling you, like that's what I'm saying. Like, so Leroy's was popping back then, right? 5 years ago, Leroy's would
Yeah.
have been
You was
smacking then.
you was in there.
Nope. I had
right.
look,
Leroy's is one of my favorite spots, man. They had
look.
some of the best chicken.
He was in there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Strip clubs,
Oh, you
strip
was
clubs
in there.
always have
Yeah,
Oh,
we
the
talked about that.
you was
strip
in
clubs
there.
always have the best food.
Nope.
Lemon,
Leroy's.
lemon
Now
pepper
this is
No
Lou.
lie.
Lemon pepper Lou.
when I was frequenting Leroy's back in
Oh, so you
back
wasn't there.
Either way, you was in there.
over
So
a
That's
hold
the
on.
decade.
Did you
question.
just
Was
did
you
you
Over
in
just
a
there?
decade.
so
Let
you
me
just lied and said you
no
wasn't
no
in
no
there?
no no
Right.
5 years ago. 5 years ago, I was not in Leroy's. 5
Hey,
years ago.
was you in there? And you
Over a
said no.
decade ago, over a decade.
You
This
said
tells
no.
you how epic Leroy's was,
My
right?
God.
This tells you how epic Leroy's was and how long it's been around.
Yo,
I
listen, real
hadn't
quick. Hold
been
on. Listen, I asked you if you was in there and you said no, though.
5 years ago.
Exactly. And now
No,
he's trying to talk over it.
5 years ago, no, I was not. However,
Oh my
that's how
God.
long Leroy's has been around. I've been out of the club scene for like 10 years plus, 10 plus now.
And
I don't hang out.
God rest his soul, Mr. Green, man. He was a great man, man. Real good dude.
You talking about Greens on Farrell?
Nah, Mr. Green used to own Leroy's.
Okay. Yeah. That's the dude. Don't he own that's not the same dude that owned Greens on Farrell?
Mr. Green died. The who owned Leroy's had died.
Is that the same man that owned the spot on Farrell Road?
I don't know, Walt. Being honest with you, I know what you're
Oh,
talking about. Greens, the Greens. I don't know if that's the same one.
Was that another strip club, Walt?
no,
Exactly.
Old
that's an
people
old
club.
school juke joint.
Restaurant.
That's the
Oh,
old
all
people
right.
club.
Old school. I love that spot, boy. Going
So
green.
you be
You
so you
get
be in
some
the
what?
so you be going to the strip clubs and juke joints in Columbia.
And when I tell you, Greens is a certified
But I'm telling you, when you go to Greens, the cars be lined up on the side of the road. No lie.
packed.
And I'm
You
pretty
hear me?
sure they had some good
I
food
guess
too.
so. They ain't got nowhere
Good
else to
food.
park.
Listen, good food. You're gonna get
Car be
solid.
packed. That's why they parking on the side of the road. The parking lot be jammed.
You don't have to worry about no foolishness in that place. None.
Yeah.
My
Like the
God.
grown crowd. Like you ain't got to worry
Right.
about no headaches or nothing.
Look, you want to hear
Wow.
some. You want to hear
Anyway.
some old school Clarence Carter, Lynn Waiters,
Oh my
and all
God.
of that.
Okay. All right, Walt.
So go ahead. Crystal, you had a
Okay.
question.
Go
I
ahead,
do.
Let's
Crystal.
go, baby.
And then we can get into the other questions that we
to the
have. For
hole in the wall.
Yeah.
yeah, that you left home with the Ivies.
Frank, it's got your
It
your
got me going
image
sideways.
sideways. Yeah.
I got you.
Go ahead, Crystal. What's your
So,
question?
Frankie, of course, we know, there are some kind of shady people in the music industry. Of course, not gonna name any names, but we know some, like
Call me right quick. I just
the
got to
popular
charge up.
ones.
Go ahead.
Ooh, Puffy,
We know the ones that are known for being
P Diddy,
a certain kind of way.
Love.
I wasn't saying no names. I'm not doing
Oh, my
that.
bad.
All I'm saying is, Frankie, how did you get your artists to trust you, to know that you wouldn't be that kind of way with them, as far as with, their contracts and stuff like that?
Great question.
I like to stand apart from everyone else.
Sets me apart from with everybody. Like first off, working with my artists, I never come with a business. Like all my artists, I have a personal relationship with. Like I can give you each scenario how I met my artists. It never was, oh, I want to sign you. Oh, it was something that led me to them, and it's something that, and they saw, and a lot of people saw the work that we did with Snook, and all the grind that we did with Snook. Like a lot of people don't realize, but you put over $1 million in the Snook.
Who did?
Me and Dietrich, me and
Okay.
Mix. We put
That's
over $1
big
million
money.
in the Snook, and over the course of the years, like you know what I'm saying, because like Snook was like, we treat him like baby, you know what I'm saying, like we was pushing Snook for like eight years.
Wow.
I think Snook had records with Gotti. Snook had records with Little Boosie. Snook got records with T-Pain. Like Snook done been on tours with Rick Ross, Plies. Like Snook had a major look with an indie budget. And if
That's
people
what's
go back
up.
and do their research, Snook won every award that you possibly can win in the music category in South Carolina. It's just that during that time, do so much back then to get signed. It wasn't not a big independent era back then. Everybody was looking to get signed. Everybody was doing stuff to get signed. Everybody was throwing a rope out there hoping to catch something. But during the course of that, people fell off and stopped doing music because they wasn't getting a hand or they wasn't getting the deal that they wanted. And that would separate the men from the boys. The independent is a man game.
Right.
It's gonna really tell how bad you really want it. And that's why you see a lot of people get signed to the majors and they get signed off a hot song, and then you see they fade away because they can't duplicate that because they don't know how they did it the first time.
Right.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So
Got it.
and for everybody to understand the timeline, correct me if I'm wrong, Frankie, but Snook came around like through South Carolina right after when Collard Green had kind of started.
Matter of fact, they were together.
Yeah.
Collard Green, Little Rue, all of them was on the same. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Snook came around, so it was like he was supposed to be the next greatest thing. But like you said, it's hard, man, especially here in South Carolina where
we had a deal. I turned it down.
Wow.
We had a deal. We had a deal on the table for like, I think it was like 300,000, and I turned it down because people look at the number, you gotta read the language. If you would have signed that deal, Snook would have been unsigned, and I'm glad I didn't sign the deal because that label went bankrupt 6 years later.
Wow.
And being this, the label was TVT. Matter of fact, I remember it's TVT. So they had Gotti. Song with Gotti. Gotti had to end up buying himself out that deal. And my thing is like this: I'm glad I didn't sign the deal because I'd have been in the same position. I'd have had to buy myself out the deal to continue to make music.
Right.
That's the part of reading and understanding what you're signing and knowing the business. If I'd have signed that deal, Snook would have been still signing people for the rest of his life.
That's crazy.
Looking at me crazy.
So, I don't know if people are listening, but what you're talking about is very it's important because you're talking about being not just smart in that particular industry, but being smart, period, in business. You know what I mean? I think a lot of young people, they see, they just want to make music and they just want to put it out there and they don't understand fully the whole.
It's a business, dog.
Right.
The dynamic. Anybody that.
Right.
Start to finish.
Right. It's important to pay attention in class, man.
Yeah. So okay, go ahead, Dan.
You got to do. Go ahead.
Now I was gonna say, so one of the main reasons we wanted to have you on was to spotlight, what you're doing. And then we want to jump into a conversation. But before we jump into that conversation, how can people find your artists? How can they find out more about your record label?
Instagram, you got Elite Records LLC, and then you got MMR the label.
Okay. And are your artists available on all platforms?
Everybody on all platforms. Matter of fact, Mr. got a project that's coming out this weekend right here called Ben Him. Matter of fact, we got a show Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then Tick has on the Elite Record side, Tick has a project that's coming out called Not Famous. My other artist, Pull Up Hurt, he got a project out right now on Elite Records called The Streets Can Vouch. Deezy got his project out right now that's been out for a minute, which is the classic Slime Night, which got the song Yay Long News 19.
No doubt. And I will tell you, I don't know if it was from me following you on Facebook, but I did check out some of Mr.'s music, and it's dope. So if y'all listening, check him out.
Largest catalog in South Carolina. Largest catalog in South Carolina. No one got more mixtape than Mr. Hands down. We call him the mixtape Don. And no one is more consistent. From Orangeburg, matter of fact.
Okay. All right. Shout out. Wow. Shout out to Orangeburg.
Crystal Mac. He might be related to you.
Really?
His last name is a Mac.
But he is South Carolina Mac. I don't think I have any South Carolina Macs.
Crystal's from Canada.
You're related somewhere.
Crystal's from Canada.
Don't start, Walt. Don't start.
Crystal's from Canada.
Peace, beautiful people. It's your boy Dad. Listen, man. Follow, like, subscribe. 5 Things Off the Wall. We are available on YouTube, on IG. 5 Things Off the Wall. 5TOTW. Peace.